Morning, Trainiacs. There is no lazier ride than a rest week recovery ride. I'm into it. So lately I've mentioned a free alternative to TrainingPeaks, which I have actually completely switched over to in place of TrainingPeaks. It's called Elevate for Strava, and today I want to show you how I've set it up to, I think, get the most benefit out of it with the least cost. It's free, it's good. So all right, Trainiacs, here, let's talk about Elevate for Strava. So Elevate for Strava, in my opinion, is a really good replacement for TrainingPeaks. Now, personally, I like TrainingPeaks, but it's not the be-all, end-all. It's not worth the $15 or $20 once we convert the US dollars to the monopoly Canadian money that I've got to pay in, that it costs. There is a lot in there. There's a ton that you can do in it. It is certainly beneficial, and I would actually say that it is like the gold standard. Well, today's plan is trying to upend it for one-on-one coaching. If you have a one-on-one coach and you need to interact in your workouts, probably the place to do it. Team Trainiac isn't. But what I see is that for people who are self-coaching, people on Team Trainiac, it's not everything. It doesn't have as many benefits for people that don't need that one-on-one interaction and really just want to get a sense of, like, are they trending in the right line? How intense are all of the workouts? What's their fatigue level? How have they performed before in certain races? And how can they use that to help them decide on how to taper or prepare for future races? And I think that Elevate for Strava, because it's free and largely gives you a lot of that same data, is almost just as good. Like, it's what I've switched over almost entirely. So how you get it is, number one, you need to have a Chrome web extension. So what you do is you install the Chrome browser on whatever computer you've got. This is for people who aren't familiar with that. If you're on a Windows computer, this is like Google's version of Internet Explorer. Or if you're on a Mac, it's Google's version of Safari. And you install Chrome, and then when you search, first we'll Google search, Elevate for Strava, search that, and the first thing that's going to pop up is it's going to be this that indicates chrome.google.com, Elevate for Strava, and it's an add-on. Like, it plugs onto your Chrome extension. I already have mine, but you'll have a button here that says install to Chrome, and what's going to pop up is it's going to be something like this, where up in the top right of your Chrome extension, you're going to see all of these little extensions that you've added, and it's going to be the little mountains. So you click on that and it gets you to Elevate for Strava. When you first do that, it's going to walk you through how to connect this website to Strava. So just go through all that. I don't even remember going through it, so that tells me that it's fairly simple to do. And when you do it, you're going to want to set it up a few certain ways. What you've got to do is click this gear icon, and we want to configure what data it's pulling to get the most reliable data. So configure fitness trend, and it's going to tell you how you need to set this up. So we want to set up this first one to get estimated stress scores if you end up doing a ride without a heart rate monitor, and to figure out how swimming fits into that. So it's going to guide you right through it. I've already done it, but we'll go through it here. You want to set up your athlete settings, and you want to create a new dated athlete setting. And here's how we do this. You put in this date here, you put in your weight in kilograms, you set your max heart rate. Now, this max heart rate isn't the max heart rate that you've got from the max heart rate test that we've done, if you've done that. if you're on Team Trainiac, you'll know about that, and you might know that that will tend to result in a lower heart rate than you're actually capable of. What you want to do is go back through about 6 months worth of data, find the highest heart rate reading that you've ever put out. Put that in here. Set up your resting heart rate. Now you can get this from an overnight resting heart rate, any sort of fitness app. Ideally, it's your overnight resting heart rate because that's going to be the lowest. Lactate threshold heart rate, I've just left this as default because I've never done a lactate test. Cycling functional threshold power, you put in your most recent FTP test results. Finding your running functional threshold pace. This is what you would do for a 45 to 60 minute sustained effort. So think like your 10K race pace, thereabouts, or just a tad slower than your 10K race pace. And I estimated mine at around 4 minutes per kilometer. I think I might be able to get down just a little bit underneath that. Now your swimming functional pace, this, if you're on Team Trainiac, we do a 100-meter time trial or yard time trial and a 1,000-meter or yard time trial. What I've calculated is that my 1 hour functional threshold pace, this is what you can sustain for 1 hour, is right around, it's about 85 to 90% of my 1,000 meter or yard time trial. So what I've done is I've taken that 1,000 meter or yard, I have reduced it by I think about 12%, and I've put that in here, and that'll kind of get you fairly close. So you hit add once you've done all that. Once you go back to fitness trend, you're going to click on this gear icon again, and then make sure that these are switched on so that they're purple. Enable cycling estimated power stress score and enable running estimated stress score. Click out here. And then what you've got to do is, if this is your first time setting it up, click this synced button. First time setting it up, sync all the activities. And then what you'll see is every time you log into this, it'll give you an indication of how long it's been since you have actually synced your activities. So you'll often, every time you want to come in here, sync your recent activities. It'll go through syncing all of that with Strava. Once this says synced a few seconds ago, refresh the page. And then I want you to change a couple of things. Number one, I want you to show enable the training zones. I want you to click off enabling the cycling power data. The swimming, I've left off, and I'll show you why in a second. Including electrical assisted rides, I'm not using e-bikes. Use of estimated cycling power data, yeah, definitely have that if it's available, and estimated run stress score. That's what we have added in that gear. And what you're going to have here is a nice trend to estimate your fitness, your fatigue, and your form. And your form is a measure of your fatigue levels based off of your fitness levels. And what you want to do is you want to see a fitness score that in your training season, all the way from your base building season to your race, that it's trending upwards. So that's what we're seeing here. And it's trending quite a bit more upwards than where it was last year. Hello. Your fatigue, your levels of tiredness, this is going to trend up. We're building levels of fatigue. Now, you might not feel the fatigue if you manage it really well, but you're gradually challenging yourself a little bit more, and that builds fatigue. What you want to measure here, which is why we enable these training zones, is you see that when your form or freshness level is above the freshness score, you're really well rested and fresh. You see that I got really fresh during my off season. Your overload, that's when you start training really heavy. Your really heavy training is when you're like, ugh, this is really hard. What you want to do is do most of your training kind of at and around that optimal form level and race in between 0 and neutral. And you look back at when I raced here in Coeur d'Alene, I was just into some good form. When I raced in Half Ironman Worlds, I was just above neutral. So I probably lost just a little bit too much fatigue and could have actually trained a little bit harder in that last week. And that's kind of how I felt. So what we're looking to do here during race season, from base building to your race season, is build a ton of fitness. Along with it is going to come a fair bit of fatigue. Your form is going to dip down. And then in the last week or two before a race, you want to slowly taper off. Your fatigue is going to go down. Your form is going to come up. And we will hopefully, with little bursts of speed in the taper, we're going to maintain as much fitness as possible. Totally natural that your fitness dips in the last week or two before a race. But what we're trying to do is just have it creep down, not like what happens in the off season. And this is how you start monitoring that. So Trainiac's, particularly on Team Trainiac, if you start enjoying data, if you want to see if you're progressing, if you want to see where your fitness levels are at, how you're progressing through the training, where your fatigue levels are at, if you feel dumpy and you want to know why, Elevate for Strava is a great free way to do it that has, I think, a lot of the benefits of TrainingPeaks while being free. So why not do it? Right, Pete? Pete is always excited. He always comes for the sign-off. Right, Pete? I do. All right, Trainiacs, go check out teamtrainiac.com for a free 14-day trial. Try out Elevate for Strava, and Petey and Gracie, thank you for your time.